Welcome back to the EAM Crypto channel. My name is Enrique, and thank you so much for watching. Today we get to interview LB from Grape Finance. Grape Finance is a huge name in the DeFi space. They've accomplished a whole lot, and they've had a crazy couple of rough weeks in the last couple of weeks with the whole liquid capital fiasco. So let's talk to LB about what he's learned from all that, and to also find out more about what Grape Finance has coming down the pipeline. They're always building, they're always innovating, so I can't wait to hear what's next.
LB, thank you so much for joining us here in the EAM Crypto channel. How you been, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I've been. This is really cool. I mean, I've been talking about Grape Finance since I think February, and so to finally have you on the channel is really cool. Quite a treat. And yeah, there's been a ton going on. I think everyone knows that I'm a pretty big fan of your protocol and your project. You guys have done so much ever since your inception, which I think was early or mid-January. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually heard from you guys about you guys from a doxxing video where he gave some pretty good reasoning as to why he thought that you guys would be one of the tomb forks that survives. And I guess he was right, because here we are almost 8 months later, and you guys have survived this crazy bear market. So Luca, I guess my first question would be, if someone were to have told you back in January that Bitcoin would now be struggling to just maintain even 20K and that you guys have seen nothing but a bear market, would you guess that you guys would still be around and still have all these times where you were just thriving? What would you say to that?
It's definitely, I definitely didn't expect to hit 10 mil TVL, 5 mil TVL. There were, back in January we had like 500k TVL, and that was that was still crazy to see. But to see how we've grown from them, then even through the market is pretty insane. It's surreal, and it's also surreal to see Bitcoin at 20k, which hasn't been there for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And the market in general, how quickly it kind of uh, depleted. I mean, Phantom is a big example there. I'm surprised at how low it went.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it could still go lower, right? I mean, the
yeah,
macro looks pretty
doesn't look
brutal
good.
these days. So yeah, but you guys somehow have been able to not just survive, but and most times, frankly,
Hmm.
thrive. And I think, as we can see here, you've been above peg for 70% of the time,
Hmm.
which is pretty impressive. And yes, I know your TVL. What was the highest? I remember it got to like 13 mil at one point. What do you know what the
Yeah,
highest it's been?
yeah. I think 13, maybe a touch 14.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. You see, I've done my homework with you guys a little bit,
yeah,
just a little bit. All
yeah.
right. So yeah, and I think you're the only DeFi project that's not like a major L1 that I actually own a shirt or sweatshirt or something of that. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan.
Nice,
All right.
nice.
So look, man,
Cheers.
I guess the timing for today is pretty interesting. I guess
Mm,
we don't have to kind of go over the whole liquid capital thing. I think you've already talked about that in great detail. You've
mm,
done a couple of interviews about that. You're in
yeah.
Discord. You guys have given all the information. But I did see that. I mean, I did. I got my airdrop yesterday. So what is the latest with that, LB? Can you tell us a little bit more about what to expect? And if
Mhm.
someone hasn't received their airdrop, what should they do?
Yeah, so the airdrops went out yesterday. It was about 1.5 mil of airdrops went out. And if you haven't received anything, you can open up a ticket in the Discord there, in the LC Discord. Um, and we can check it out. Uh, we did go through all the holders, um, and the sellers as well, and meticulously kind of calculate all the amounts that should go out. And I mean, most people are happy that they got the refund, obviously. And at Grape as well, yesterday, um, refunded the the affiliate cut that we got, through our pre-sale. So that went out to holders, to people that bought through our pre-sale.
Mm-hmm.
So little bonus, but also other protocols I know, like I think Horde is doing something like that as well, where they're going to refund
Okay.
the amounts that they got through their pre-sale as well to the people that bought through their pre-sale. So, and it obviously depends on the protocols and depends on what they planned originally to do with the funds, because part of the deal was that you had to buy the peg with half of it if you have a peg token, and so
Right.
we did that back in early August, late July, and the other half was kind of up to you in the treasury. So we've refunded that now, but some other people may have already used it to buy the peg, and some people may use it to refund still. So it's up to the protocol, really.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Well, that's good to know. And like LB said, just go to Discord, open up a ticket if there's any issues. So that was
Mm,
good to hear. So, man, um, the LC thing, it's pretty much looks like it's on its final legs.
yeah,
I guess now you can really focus on Grape. Would that be a fair statement?
yeah. That's something I've been wanting to do. Through July, I was kind of time poor. Um, you know,
Sure.
sorting out the pre-sale contracts and the UIs, and the token itself, LMS integration, all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of work to do there, and we still released Winemaker in July for Grape, but in saying that, it's you, you get you do too many things in one go, you get stretched too thin, and it's hard to maintain. I'm working every day on this, but it's hard to maintain 100% focus on one thing, which is where you really kind of do your best work. And that's something that I can do right now, which is actually what I'm pleased about, is I can focus 100% on Grape, which is something that I've been wanting to do, and gives
Your
me
holders are happy to hear that. I'm sure
peace
they're
of
gonna be
mind.
happy to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that is important. So no, that's really good to hear that your main focus will not be on Grape. I know that you've been kind of pulled over certain times with different projects.
Mm,
But yeah, that's really good to hear because you guys have so much going on. You kind of touched on Winemaker. I just kind of showed it a
hmm
little bit. So can you give us I guess we can go to Winemaker and then Winepress and then the casino,
hmm
but can you tell me why a holder or someone that's evaluating your project and deciding whether they should, add more allocation to their portfolio of Grape Finance or a new holder? What is it about? We'll start with Winemaker. What is it about that makes it more attractive for a new market
hmm
participant?
it's good fun. I think a lot of people enjoy it just for the fun aspect. I see it in the chat often, people discussing different strategies, discussing, like, how to get the most out of your vintners, and how to squeeze as much vintage as you can from them. There's cool, like, little strategies you can do, and different ways that you can play the game, basically. And because it's a game, it's it's almost like you're not thinking, almost like when money's involved in anything, there's always high emotions, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But when
Mm-hmm.
it's a game, it almost kind of removes you from that a little bit, and it makes you kind of enjoy playing it. And that's really important for you know even morale, even just
Sure. Yeah.
enjoying your time. Like, I want to play the game just for fun, really, and people have been enjoying it, and we're going to continue upgrading it and updating it. We just released 2 new skills late or early this week, and a good thing with the game is that it ties in really well with the entire ecosystem, because it's sort of like a burn mechanic. It's a major burn mechanic for Grape. So we're at 4,780,000 Grape. And when we started the game, we were over 5 mil. We were about five
I
mil
heard. Mm-hmm.
50,000. So that's actually all burnt through the game, and that's that's a very important feature of the ecosystem. So people can have fun, take their mind off uh, the market, so to say,
Hmm.
and also burn grape while doing so. So I think it's a real good part of the ecosystem that I want to continue to expand on.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I have no doubt you will. I mean, many have said, LB, that you're one of the best, if not the best, uh, dev in the DeFi game. So, and which is a
Oh,
huge compliment. Just the fact that someone's
that's
even
yeah.
saying
It's
that. So
cheers. I
there's
mean, I definitely wouldn't say so, but thanks.
yeah, no, I've heard it more than once from people that would actually know what they're talking about. So tell us about Winepress.
Yeah, Winepress is it's a mechanic like the very popular detonator from EMP. They're I would say they're leaders in the space, and
So if
their
someone doesn't
detonator
know
is
what
very
a
popular.
detonator is, sorry to interrupt, LB. So can
Yeah,
you explain what a detonator is?
it's essentially a pool that it's you could almost say it's like a node, but it's a node in that you don't get your you can't unstake. So you put in some stake, and it goes into the pool, and then you can get a daily amount back, and you can compound that or you can claim it daily. And so, in other words, it's a good way to increase liquidity and lock up liquidity in whatever pair you've done here. So I've done one mim first. I will be
Hmm.
making other ones where it essentially is building liquidity in that pair. Um, and the wine mim, our wine liquidity is much lower than our grape liquidity. So that's something that I've wanted to build up a little bit
Hmm.
to make things a little bit more stable on the share. But the original mechanic is, I guess, it's similar, you could say, to Drip's mechanic. Um, I'm pretty sure that's what EMP kind of based it off, where you're essentially locking funds in there and getting a daily amount back. But with this one, you are guaranteed a 90% at least ROI because of the way it works behind the scenes with the shares, where you input tokens and
Hmm.
then there's a amount that gets donated to the lottery, to the daily lottery. So that's another point. It's quite gamified with lotteries with daily deposit wins. So it kind of incentivizes people to enter and in other words lock up liquidity and grow liquidity in one min, which is important for the protocol health in general. So
Hmm.
it's yeah, so this system is guaranteed with a 90% ROI, and from there then you can earn uh, you know essentially 1% is right now 1.25% daily, but it can go higher depending on depending on you know deposits, depending on compounds, depending on
Compounding, yeah, yeah,
claims
got
as
it.
well. So if
Hmm.
you claim, there's a 5% donation essentially to the rest of the pool. So even if people only claim, it still increases the shares for the rest of the pool, which therefore boosts your APR even if you stay in the pool. So there's
Got
some
it.
good mechanics in there to essentially keep it alive and not keep it, and to prevent it from blowing up, in other words.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
and it
okay.
also boosts liquidity at the same time,
Right, right.
which is the main goal.
Hmm. And I guess Great Casino, kind of self-explanatory there. It's a casino. I think you have 4 games, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, there we go. 4 games. Yeah. So again, more of the trying to bring a little more fun into it and give Grape a little
yeah,
utility and so on.
that's from Miniverse. Miniverse is casino.
Hmm.
And they're bringing that out to a few. I'm pretty much any fork that wants, or project that wants it, and we were one of the first that got it. And there's some fun games there. You got to use Grape to buy tickets to play the game, and
Right.
that's like another burn mechanic as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of different choices, and then also the nodes, and I believe,
hmm
yeah. So what's the latest with the nodes, LB, and with
So
V2 and all
yeah,
that?
so the nodes, we're going to be implementing I guess a nodes v2 and migrating over time. So we'll migrate the grape nodes first, because there's the most users on the grape nodes, um, and the migration. It's the next pool, or the nodes v2 will be kind of more based off the Winepress mechanic, because the Winepress mechanic, adds the gamification.
Mm-hmm.
It's more sustainable than the nodes as well. You have the guaranteed 90% ROI on the wine press, and then you have a variable APR beyond that, based on the health of the actual pool. So based on uh, essentially your actions as well, and based on you know how many people are claiming, how many people are compounding, how many people are depositing. They all boost people's APRs as well. So it's a better mechanic than the nodes, um, and so we're going to migrate over, starting with the grape nodes,
Mm-hmm.
and also we're going to add some some sort of more some different features from the wine press, like some extra compound bonuses. There's going to be a claim fee based on TWAP as well, for the protocol essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and adjust the lotto a little bit as well to make it more fun, more gamified.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And how does the whole Vinium thing fit into everything?
Yeah, well, Vinium is, I guess you could say, it's like our core feature of uh, to bring us away from you know uh, degen DeFi, you could say, into more of a you know uh, a, a blue chip DeFi, in other words.
Okay.
So Vinium is lending and borrowing. It's the phase one of Vinium is going to be based off Aave, the very popular, probably the
Mm-hmm.
best, lending and borrowing system that exists in DeFi, and that is going to give us. It's going to give the protocol. One, you're going to be able to use Grape in a vault token, so basically an auto compounding token, as collateral. So you can borrow against your Grape. That's also underlying the underlying amount of Grape is also increasing. So if the Grape price stays the same,
Mm-hmm.
then your collateral increases, which means that your the amount that you can borrow increases over time as well. So there's like a little bonus there that we can tie in with our farms that lending protocols currently do, because they don't really have a farm other than that. So
Okay.
that's like the first benefit for the ecosystem. But the second benefit, which is kind of the main thing, is that it's providing some actual revenue through an actual service that kind of moves us away, as I said, from degen DeFi into
Mm-hmm.
sustainable DeFi, because a lending and borrowing system is a service that you know you go to any new chain. The one of the first things they're going to have on a new chain is a
Yeah.
lending and borrowing money
Absolutely.
market,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a cornerstone feature of DeFi. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, in other words, and then in saying so, it provides revenue from providing that service. So, and that's obviously more sustainable. Whenever you have like a revenue providing service, that's more sustainable than just doing inflationary rewards, like most inforks are. Just like the
Mm-hmm.
farms, it's just inflation for a year. So in other words, we need to kind of move away, or we'll definitely keep the degens happy, But
You
at
have
the
to.
same
You got to
time,
keep the degens happy.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're the
So,
cornerstone, right?
so what is that going to look like though? Is it going to be completely separate with separate marketing, separate
Hmm.
website, or are you going to integrate it into Grape Finance? Like, what does all that look like?
Yeah. It will be a separate. It's gonna have separate branding. It's gonna obviously be a separate website, but
Okay.
it's going to and separate marketing, because it's kind of, it's almost a different market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of the Toonfork group would, a lot of them actually haven't even used a lending system before, and likewise, a lot of people that use lending systems have never used a Toonfork before. So we're going to keep it separate, but at the same time, they're obviously going to be linked together and discussed together very often. And if we keep it separate like that, we can almost target the blue chip DeFi market, but
So,
also.
so hold on. So, as far as ownership and
Hmm.
founders and all that kind of stuff, because I know that, for example, in the past there was some kind of like grayness as to like, well, who's involved with what? Is this going
Hmm.
to be yours? And is it going to be the same people from Grape? Are you bringing in brand new people that are still not even been announced? Like, what does that look like?
No, it's a great project, 100%. It's basically me. So in other words, in terms of like development and how it's going to be run and all that, it's the same as Grape. Like it's I'm going to be heading that and running that, and that's
Okay.
going to be tied very closely with Grape. It's just for the marketing perspective, it's going to be a separate product, so that it
Okay.
doesn't tie in marketing wise with Grape directly. But at the same
Okay.
time, obviously in the Grape Discord and all that, we're going to market it very heavily there. And in the Vinium Discord, there'll be obviously references to Grape and Grape Token, the Grape ecosystem, and we're going to tie in as well the wine shares as a revenue share for that
Mm-hmm.
system as well. So they're very closely interlinked, but marketing wise, branding wise, it's almost keep it a little bit separate so that we can reach that traditional DeFi market.
Okay. Okay. And all right, so because I thought that one of the things, or at least that I was really excited about with Liquid Capital, obviously I was very excited about the whole, liquidity management system, but I was also very
Mm,
excited about the fact that the lending and borrowing platform was going to be somehow associated to it. So, uh,
mhm.
ha- so has that completely changed now that Liquid Capital is going bye bye? Is that or was this the plan all along?
Well, you know, the lending and borrowing for Grape was sort of part of the plan, almost since day one, essentially, of Grape.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, well before Liquid Capital even came around, as an idea even. So, the lending and borrowing for Grape was always kind of where we're going to be going eventually, and so it's getting close now to that. So it was always going to be part of Grape. Grape being closely intertwined with LC meant that we can leverage that as well. But now it's a pure Grape uh, ecosystem product.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's good to know. All right. So look, Elby, you guys have not seen a bull market yet. I don't know what that would look like for you guys. I mean, at times I've kind of noticed that sometimes there is correlation between BTC and the rest of the crypto markets
Hmm.
doing well and DeFi projects like yours doing well. Other times there isn't. It's
Hmm.
completely opposite. So, but I think we can kind of like just assume that when there's more liquidity in the markets and things are going better, it should be better for you guys. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
I think we could kind of assume that. So you guys have done a really good job of just staying alive since January. You've been, increasing and sometimes increasing your holders, but your it seems like your core base has been solid and kind of
Yeah.
increasing over time.
Hmm.
I haven't, I forgot to check how many holders you have today, but I have noticed that with holders, you guys have been pretty consistent.
Hmm.
So do you know off the top of your head how many holders you have today?
Oh, it's hard to say as well, because a lot of people are staked, obviously, in the
Yeah,
pools.
yeah, yeah.
And then, we have people that are only in nodes and they're not in the pools, and, vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. So it's hard to say, but there's at least a few thousand. And, we're like you can see on the AVAX chain, Grape is generally in the top 10, top 20 daily
Yeah,
transactions
yeah.
pretty often. And on the AVAX chain, we're used pretty heavily, which is it's actually surreal to see, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. No, it's very cool. Our channel is sponsored and partnered with Swapsicle, who obviously you know
Oh,
well,
nice. Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I remember how excited they were when they kind of partnered with you guys when all that started. So no, your name carries a lot of weight for sure. Even for someone like Swapsicle, who I think is going to be a huge name when it's all said and done. So
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah.
it's really cool how you guys have increased your brand and done better and better. But I am going to put you on the spot a little bit. So look, LB. Right now, and no fault of yours, obviously the macro just sucks, and we can, we can Debbie down it all day, but there are many reasons to think that the macro is going to cause, most likely, for BTC to struggle for a
Hmm.
bit, and not just BTC, but basically all, even the traditional
Yeah.
markets. It's going to be
Hmm.
felt across, and many feel
Mm.
that could be this way until early 2023. Now
Hmm.
you're in a weird spot because your project has been able to at many times prosper and thrive and produce great profits for holders like me,
Hmm.
despite BTC just going right down, down, down. So, if someone were to ask you, "Hey, LB, is it safe for me to buy grape or wine right now?" And as these times are kind of like so uncertain, and many are calling for BTC to drop even more.
Mm.
Is it a good play to go into grape, or should I wait, or what do you suggest, or just stake everything? Like, what would
Hmm.
be your response if, say, your uncle this weekend at a family event asked you that question? How would you answer that?
Yeah, well, I guess it's going to be dependent on every single individual investor, and what obviously your risk profiles and what your portfolio looks like in general. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with with Grape being obviously pegged to a stable coin, um, we have less uh, downside potential in the in a bear market, because obviously we're not directly tied to the market in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin, in terms of AVAX and whatnot. uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've already dropped. Like, AVAX was over $100 when we launched, and now it's in the 20s. And if we were pegged to AVAX, our liquidity would have been drained just because of that by default.
Yeah, that's what happened to High Point.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's it's kind of worked for us. Our
Mm-hmm.
liquidity has actually grown over that time, rather than shrunk, um, just because we are pegged to a stablecoin.
So
And,
how
it's
healthy are you financially as a treasury, as a protocol? If you were to grade it, with like F being the worst, A plus the best, where would you grade yourself as far as financial health?
yeah. In terms of treasury, I think we have a pretty strong treasury. I would say we're a B plus. We're not like an own fork treasury that has millions somehow, but in
Somehow.
terms of Toon Forks, yeah, in
Hmm.
terms of Toon Forks, we're pretty good. Like, we have a pretty decent amount of liquid cash, like
Hmm.
150K of cash.
Hmm.
Um, and then we have some investments as well. Obviously, we have over 2,000 AVAX staked in the S AVAX, that we may turn into a node at some point, or a validator.
Hmm.
And then we also have some EMP ETH LP, to get
Okay.
some ETH exposure, but also because they're a good team, and and it's farming there as well. So I think that's good anyway. And then we also have some Walrus and USDC LP as well, farming as well. So we have some investments,
I mean, a
in
couple of those
sort
are
of
pretty volatile. but
Definitely volatile, yeah.
yeah,
EMP
okay.
and Toon Fork, volatile.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought you were going to tell me something a little less volatile, more stable. So I'm actually surprised by your answer. Um, so
yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
well,
that's
it's
okay.
they're not huge amounts of the portfolio, but
Okay.
they're there to get exposure to obviously some riskier assets that you can also farm.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, the good thing with Toon Forks is that if you're in the LP, you can just basically farm no matter the peg anyway,
Yeah,
and
yeah. People
yield
don't
from
think
that.
about
Like,
that enough. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it drives me nuts. That's why, like, I mean, I feel like I've been complaining for 4 or 5 months straight. I'm like, why is everyone buying into rebase protocols when you can do a million
yeah,
different things with tune forks, right? Like,
exactly, yeah,
I mean, I mean, I don't consider myself a genius, and I've done really well with tune forks. And I just think
yeah,
there's so many different ways to make money, and there's just it's like a game that has
yeah,
all these
yeah.
different options, and that's why I love tune forks. And I'm not surprised to see that you guys are still around. And like I remember, like Dow King said back in January or February, he predicted that you guys would be like one of the few that makes it. He was right. I guess he saw something in you guys that others didn't see or whatever. But yeah, I mean,
Mm,
it was, and also to add to that, it's not easy, right? Because I'm guessing your emissions are probably. I've actually done the math. I'm
hmm.
guessing that your emissions are probably somewhere south of 1% daily, if I had to guess. Am I
Yeah, yeah.
in
On
the
the
ballpark? Okay,
in the
okay,
boardroom, yeah,
okay. So having said that, I mean that's not easy. LB,
yeah.
that's not easy for 8 months to be able to do that and have a healthy
Yeah,
treasury that you give yourself a B or B plus. So
yeah.
all this during a bear market. I mean, it's
Mm,
like, I mean, it's impressive, man. It really is. And even though your TVL is not what it was, say about a month ago
mm,
or whatever,
yeah,
I think things are still looking okay. I think there's going to be some things that you're going to have to
yeah,
navigate. You navigated everything with LC really, really well, and now it's time to just focus on grape and then focus on
yeah.
Vinium as well, right? Because Vinium could be
Hmm.
really good. So if it's cool, I thought we could answer a couple questions
Yeah, yeah.
that were sent on Twitter, and I'm gonna do it in no order. So, all right. So the first one's actually a really good question. LB, why not get doxxed? It's time to rebuild some trust. So obviously there's a little dig at the whole LC thing there, and then the whole docs thing. So,
Yeah.
LB, can you answer that?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely something I plan to do in the future. Um, but you have to also take into account that I think almost my actions should speak for themselves in terms of trust. Like we've been around for 8 months, and I'm here every day working on this. So it's like you know being doxxed isn't necessarily just okay, now the person's trustworthy. I think that's kind of like a false dichotomy there, because
Mm-hmm.
you know you can take for example Bernie Madoff was fully doxxed. Also worked on it was on the board of the Nasdaq, but still ran the biggest Ponzi scheme
Mm-hmm.
in the world, and lost investors billions of
Yeah.
dollars.
I'm not
Um,
even sure that's the biggest Ponzi. One could say that the currency of any government is the biggest Ponzi scheme
That's
ever,
true.
but
That's true.
I digress.
And they're
Okay,
fully
that's a
doxxed
fair
there.
question. No,
But
that's a fair answer.
yeah, no. In saying that, there's valid reasons why I'm not doxxed right now, and it's because it is a security risk. I have keys to multiple contracts that are part of investors' funds, and I can't me exposing myself and therefore my address, possibly putting my family at risk of essentially they call it a $5 range attack, where you can have keys and crypto all you want, and you see this. It happens in the world numerous times where really, because a third party doesn't have control of the money, which is part of the crypto, which is part of what you want in crypto, like a bank. um Essentially, people can take advantage of that, come with a $5 wrench, and
Sure.
basically put your family at risk, put you at risk, and say, give me the keys. Uh, in other words, give me the money, basically. And that's
Hmm.
also, not taking into account the other aspect where people on the internet are crazy at times, and can put people at risk for no real reason other than
Hmm.
them being crazy. So there's valid reasons, and in saying that as well, like, if you don't trust me, you really don't have to invest in the product. I mean, it's obviously completely up to you for where you put your money, and
Hmm.
you should make that decision
Yeah.
based on a
Yeah.
track record.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And just, I mean, we say it all the time, but anything in DeFi is just, so highly volatile and risky.
Mm,
It's also the most fun and the most lucrative too when things are going good.
yeah,
And you can't be doing this with money that you can't afford to lose. That's just craziness to me. Just don't do
exactly.
that, guys. All right, next question. Actually, okay, this is pretty good. Gav H. This is a good question, man. This is gonna make you laugh. LB, is degen finance dead?
Well, I'm not actually sure what's happening with degen. I haven't spoken to Tim in a little while now.
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
maybe you
sure
can
where he
just
is.
real quickly add some context there, because even I thought that you were still a little bit more involved in that. So what can you tell us a little bit more there then?
Yeah, well, I'm a founder there. I founded
Hmm.
it. Obviously, Tim and DNN and myself are
Hmm.
the three founders back in, I forgot when it launched, like March, I think. Um,
It
it did
marched
well.
right. It launched right before the Ukraine
Yeah,
Russia thing started, like
like
the
literally
week
that
after.
week. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so bad,
Yeah.
such a bad timing.
Hmm.
But I mean, it did really well for a while, and it was
Yeah.
above peg for a very long time.
Hmm.
And it fluctuated, of course, but it was even above peg last month. But it's sort of suffered quite a bit because of being pegged to tomb as well. Um, isn't
Yeah. That
the
doesn't help.
best. It,
Hmm.
like, especially when tomb went from like $3 or whatever to 5 cents, what it is now. That drained a lot of liquidity on our end as well in degen, um, which is it makes it easier to maintain the peg, but like, it also makes it really volatile, and
Hmm.
people lost those funds because they were drained because of the liquidity being sucked out because of being pegged to tomb. So I
Hmm.
mean, that's kind of like the drawback when you come to being pegged to a volatile asset, like we mentioned before, is that it's um, you're susceptible to the market. If it was a bull market, it'd be good for that, but bear market, it's terrible for that. So I mean, the it did really well, but the market really stuffed it. To be honest, the market really like drained.
All right, you didn't give us a yes or no, man. I'm putting you in the spot. Is degen finance dead?
Is
Yes or no?
dead. Well, I think we can. It's I don't want to call it dead, but it's gonna
So you're
be.
saying no. You're saying
It's
it's
gonna
not.
be. Yeah, it's we're gonna have to
Okay.
coordinate with the team a little bit better to like to revive it. I mean,
Revive it. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Because if it needs to be revived, it's dead, LB. So I'm just saying. just saying. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, man. Next question. We kind of covered this, but I still want to ask the question. What's your strategy to survive a bull market? With just a small market relief, money has been fleeing from Grape, with all due respect, from all DeFi projects almost, and with the perspective of how much of much higher profits. Okay.
Hmm.
I guess that's a two-part question, but yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit. But do you have anything specific to survive to survive? And he said to survive a bull market. I think he meant bear market. So,
Hmm.
um, so thanks, Javier, for the question. I think I'm going to assume he meant bear, not bull
Yeah,
market
yeah.
at the start. So I think I threw you off. But yeah, man, do you have anything specific as far as an actual game plan, strategy, initiative to help you through these times? I know that before you answer that, I would like to get your 2 cents on something that I noticed that I thought I'd be a huge fan of, and now I think I'm not. I noticed
Mhm.
that with that whole back to peg campaign that I think
Mhm.
first like Alto or Ames or someone like that did,
Mhm.
and then Frozen Walrus did it. It's really
Mhm.
good to get you to peg. It's awesome to get you to
Yeah,
peg, but
yeah.
the problem is that the way that it's tiered and structured and with the way the taxes work, you're basically incentivizing everyone. LB, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm
Mhm.
not a dev. And anything here, guys, I'm not a dev, I'm not technical, I'm certainly not a financial advisor. Incentivizes the people to sell the second that they get to peg so that they don't have to worry about the all those taxes or whatever if it drops below peg. So you're basically incentivizing everyone to go on a bank run the second you hit peg. Am I missing something or is that correct?
Yeah, that is kind of the problem with that pool. I mean, it does really well, as you mentioned, to get to peg. You know, people are incentivized to break the LP to then put the non-native side, the stable coin or whatever you're pegged to inside the pool,
Mm-hmm.
which then goes and buys the peg there and locks it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you see that people people game it. You know, they want to stay below the pegs because the APRs in those pools, you need to incentivize it to make the APR good so that people want to do it. But in saying that, if the APR is too good, then people just want to stay below peg and farm that
Oh yeah, that
pool.
five
And
percent or 4%. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
especially
pretty
considering
tricky.
that. Yeah, yeah, especially considering that you're usually going to be rewarding in, the share token, and then also even some AVAX or some USDC or something like that. So people are getting a non-native token as well. I think on Ames they did their share and then uh, their Alto token, but it's you're earning dual rewards there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pretty good. Daily returns, and you'll forfeit the 10% whatever tax at point 0.9, um to capitalize on those gains and kind of keep it below
Mm-hmm.
peg almost. So I mean that is an issue. We'll be doing like a little bit of a different
Okay, so
thing
you're not going to
where,
do something like that. Okay, so to answer Javier's question, what are you going to do
yeah,
specifically as far as the actual strategy or plan?
well, in terms of actual strategy, we're starting this very soon, even today, well, my time, um where it's more of
And
a
LB, sorry
like,
to interrupt, but real quick, I'm just showing on the graph the 2 times that Frozen Walrus did that. You see right here, boom, $1 down,
yeah,
boom, $1 down. So I just wanted to show that there
yeah.
was a little data behind my little rant. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it's we going to be using like the rebate system that we have that already exists there. But so essentially, bond, you provide your grape or your grape mim or mim, and you earn
Mm-hmm.
wine at a discounted price, and then that grape is completely burnt. We burn that, and then the LP we split that,
Mm-hmm.
and we buy the grape and then burn it. So it's essentially removing, because with the peg pool you don't there's no burn at all of the peg, um, unless you put it into bonds or whatever. But then in saying that, when you put it into bonds, as soon as you get to peg, there's that supply now exists again. So in other words, like we need to really continue an actual solid burn of grape to really get that supply well down, because we've expanded way too much. We have like just under 5 mil supply, which is quite a lot to maintain, especially when you start printing again. It's a one
Mm-hmm.
percent or 0.5% on 5 million expansion, which is a lot of extra
Yeah.
sell
Yeah.
pressure, possible sell
Sure.
pressure there. So we want to
Yeah.
contract supply quite a bit. And so that's why we'll do the rebates, which is essentially the same idea. You get, you know, you're earning shares at a discounted rate, but you're bonding um, your grape, you're bonding your LP, and then we can manage. the LP splitting and buying of the peg, and then I want to implement a wine staking pool to earn some farm revenue. So essentially, like right now, wine is it's not doing anything, and so the APR is 0. But if I want to make a pool where you can stake your wine and earn farmed assets from the treasury, so we're going to put the treasury to work, and in a varying, high risk, lower risk, medium risk sort of farms, some leverage farms, and return that yield to wine stakers. So there's at least some external yield that's not tied to the protocol at all with wine. So there's at least some sort of use right now for wine, and then you can earn it at a discounted rate. So it's incentivizing people to bond for wine in the rebates, and then we can continue the burn of grape and continue the buy of grape with LP, and capture that loose supply of grape, because there's a lot of loose supply of grape in the single stake pool, in the nodes even, that we want to really tie up and burn. So we have a bit of a strategy to kind of cut down the supply of grape and add some more buy pressure through the LP splitting and whatnot to also sensitize the price while doing so. So that's kind of like our strategy right now.
Okay, that sounds good. And yeah, I mean, it's also going to be interesting once you have the borrowing and lending platform set up and marketing, bringing in different kinds of investors or players, degens, whatever you want to call it, into the mix, and they are going to have in just some way, shape, or form, they're going to have some exposure to Grape Finance via that platform, right? So I think that will also help bring in more people. I mean, because that's what we need at the end of the day. LB and DeFi, we need more market participants. We need more liquidity. It's very obvious. I mean, if we take a look at before the last question from Twitter, if we take a look at your volume, for example, with Grape, I mean, it's under 10K for the last 24 hours. Yeah, I don't remember seeing that kind of volume from you guys at all.
Everything's kind of dropped off in the last sort of in this month even. I thought the market was bad in July, in June and all that, but August has really taken a hit on the whole market. I've seen pretty much all tomb forks and projects in general in DeFi are really suffering very low volume that haven't seen that low for a very long time. And it's I saw DeFi llamas, DeFi what's it, TVL basically halved in this last month. So and that's like $60 billion of TVL that's just kind of gone from DeFi, and that's huge. So it's the market is definitely not looking good right now. But the only thing we can do is we can just continue building and basically survive. We just need to survive this phase, and we survive it by building and then strategizing what we can do in terms of keeping liquidity, incentivizing as much people around as possible, and then just continue building until the next bull market comes around, which there always is, and then
absolutely
capitalize on that.
This is the time where you build. It's during a bear market when you're on your side of it. On my side of it as an investor and trader, this is the time where you accumulate little by little or look for the best spots. I mean, honestly, I think the best thing for anyone that sees perspective long term is to actually hope that the market keeps dropping, because you just get to accumulate at lower prices, right? Okay, last question, LB. 1% of Winepress deposits are supposed to go to the NFT rewards pool. Will NFT holders be airdropped the wine mim as an LP, when will these be going out to holders?
Yes, yeah. So that is what's going to be happening. Right now, we're just building that up, and as we release essentially the nodes of E2, which is similar mechanic, you'll also get rewards from that. So the grape one is coming soon, and then you'll get grape rewards from that, and we will continue with the airdrop at least once a month. But at the same time, I'm looking to develop a essentially a staking contract that you can claim the rewards on a stream basically. So there's not like one day where you get a large amount of rewards. It's over the month you can claim the rewards you're eligible for. Over time they accumulate. So that's just to kind of reduce some overhead and also reduce like selling pressure that you may receive on the one day if you
Mm-hmm.
drop like 30,000 grape or whatever on one day. So that's something that's on the list to come out uh, soon.
Soon. Okay. Okay. Very cool. And before we sign off, there'll be two things. First of all, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up or cover? I know that you've gone through a lot in the last couple of weeks with this whole liquid capital thing. Frankly, I think your brand kind of was looked at a little differently for a bit
Hmm.
there because of what happened. So, and I wanted to sign off on something else. But before we do that, is there anything else that you wanted to add to that, or anything else that we didn't cover today that you wanted to cover?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think I just want to say that I think DeFi is a crazy place, and it's highly experimental as well, and it's kind of there's a lot of sometimes there's mistakes that are made that in hindsight you can look at it and say, well, that's a terrible idea, but at the time it's really the only possible plan that can be implemented.
Mm-hmm.
But from that experience, there's only two ways you can go, and you either back down and kind of run away from it, or you stick through it and kind of solve it, and then end up learning massively from it. And so that's kind of what I prefer to do is just stick to it and learn from any sort of experience that you have and improve from there. So you know, uh, Grape's been around for a while. We've learned a lot. Liquid Capital was definitely a big learning experience, and I can take those lessons learned throughout this year and continue to improve on the protocol, the platform that we
Mm-hmm.
have, and essentially then deliver you know a solid product for investors and the community, which
Mm-hmm.
is really the goal.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Fantastic. Yes, there's always something to learn.
Mm,
I think for me as an investor with liquid capital, what I learned is that even in DeFi, I mean, especially in DeFi, there's never a sure thing, right? And I did think
mm,
with the whole, with Horde system being implemented and integrated, from what I understood, perfectly. You guys even paid Horde, right? You
hmm
had an actual partnership, or you're a customer, I guess it would be a
hmm
better way of putting it, actually. Because of that and the fact that you had all these relationships and you guys were going to have all these holders and access to Titano's 75,000 holders or whatever,
mm.
which I don't even get that one, LB. We could probably have a whole show on that. Like,
Yeah.
why is their volume so low if they have so many holders? But that's another conversation for another day. But I thought it was kind of a sure thing, and turned out to not be. So in DeFi, there's never a sure thing ever. There's no
Mm,
such thing,
mm,
So and I'm using sure thing very loosely, but that was the big thing for me to learn from it, because of the fact that I did think it had a lot more stability to it. When, like you said, in DeFi, it's just where we are, and things are going to get crazy sometimes, and it's hard to know exactly what's coming your way, and it's all experimental. And a
mm.
lot of people have been saying, is DeFi dead? And I just laugh at that. DeFi is not dead. It's just starting. We're scratching the
Yeah.
surface. We really are scratching the surface. So it's going to be really exciting to see what happens with you with Grape Finance. What's going to happen with the lending and borrowing platform? Where is that going to
Mm,
go? what is that going to, evolve into? So it's going to be really exciting to see how things end up. So LB, one last question. We're going to leave this on a fun little note, if you don't mind. Give us your prediction here. I'll show you this chart just gives people headaches. This might we'll show you this chart. This chart's less headachy and more simple. All right, man. Yes or no? We'll end on this. 17.5 was the bottom. What is LB's prediction?
I mean, it looks like we take a bit more of a dive here. Whether it breaks the 17.5 bottom or it kind of just like sits around there for a bit, I don't know. I would like it to go below, to be honest, so that I can buy some more.
It's funny how that works. Yes.
Yeah.
But if you had to like bet on it, like, do you think 17.5 is the bottom or no?
I think, you look at past cycles of Bitcoin and it doesn't go below the previous high, but technically we have, and I guess this is like we have a different macro in this in this phase, incredible inflation and liquidity just being drained from all markets. So I think we could go lower. I don't want to be a doomsdayer, but it's the
It's
market
okay,
does
man.
not
People
look
have been
good.
complaining about me being too much of a bear since I started this channel in January. So it's okay, man. You're actually in the right place to be kind of bearish. So
Yeah.
okay,
It
no, I
just
get
doesn't
that.
look good, you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
the overall picture of the market.
Agreed. And again, these are unknown, uncharted territories for the cryptos, guys. This is the first time in the history of Bitcoin that we have been under the umbrella of quantitative tightening. We've been under quantitative easing since 2009, and so this is something very new that we haven't seen before. And so I don't think anyone knows for sure if 17.5 was the bottom or not, or if they can time it. It's really hard to tell. When people tell me that they can time it and they know the date, I'm just like, well, how? It seems kind of impossible based on, if you're applying traditional technical analysis, you shouldn't be able to answer that question with certainty. You can certainly have, opinions, but it's kind of hard to tell. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens, man. We will see. Well, LB, thank you so much for joining the channel, man. It's been it's been really cool. Yeah, to have you on here. And guys, let's see what happens with Grape. It sounds like there's a lot still coming. That roadmap just keeps, there's always something on the roadmap when it comes to Grape, and LB and the team are always innovating. And I'm truly excited to see what happens with this lending and borrowing platform and what arises from it. So LB, hopefully things will go well, and we wish you the best of luck, and thanks again for joining the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right, guys, have a good one. See you in the next one. Take care.